She's a conservative, and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't talk about politics, religion, or money, and we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head but are too scared to say out loud.
I don't want to be overly dramatic here. I think this is the most important episode we've done to date.
I agree with you. So for all of you listening and watching, it is September 14th, Sunday, September 14th. Thankfully, because of our incredible team at Bambi Media with Brianna and Alex, as soon as the Charlie Kirk assassination happened on Wednesday afternoon, and I actually was in Utah, and so it was about 45 minutes south from Salt Lake City, we immediately let them know the gravity of the situation, and they are doing their best to jump the queue, and you are going to be hearing this on this coming Wednesday. So thank you, Bambi Media and Alex and Brianna. This has been Jolene. I mean, I have a lot of things to talk about with you, a lot of things to say. I would love to know, I did call you right away, but I would love to know how you felt, how you're feeling. I mean, I'm heartbroken. I kind of can't stop crying about all of it.
The shock of seeing it happen is one part of this, right?
Yes.
Like we all saw it. And if you didn't see it, it's horrific. And I know you already know that. And then to hear that he died, like when you see it happen, you're like, oh, I don't know that someone survives something like that. And then when he died, you just like all of a sudden the emotions come over you, and he was not an elected official, but it's this assassination that I'm sure it was the same feelings that people had when they saw Kennedy get shot, or I mean it's that horrific feeling. But the thing that has gotten me more than anything is the rhetoric and the reaction that has come from it since then. We are at a time and a place in this country that I just don't freaking understand. That you could have such a horrible incident happen, and there are people who are applauding it and laughing about it and saying he had it coming and the words karma and all of that. It just absolutely amplifies any feeling that you had from that point, and it's absolutely devastating to me. You, tell me what your reaction is.
I was on a walk with my niece, and then we came back, and she said Charlie Kirk was shot. And to be honest, I didn't know who Charlie Kirk was until March 6th. And March 6th was Gavin Newsom started his podcast, I think, a week after us. And his first guest was Charlie Kirk. And I was so struck that Gavin was possibly doing something similar to what you and I wanted to do, talk about different voices. And I had no idea who this Charlie Kirk person was. And I listened to the episode, and I didn't agree with most of what he said, but I did agree with some things. And he was so smart and so articulate and so passionate and believed in the art of debate and conversation. I think there's sort of the 7 stages of grief happening for everyone. The sort of the shock, and then the sadness and the anger. I cannot believe we founded this country on free speech. Our forebearers came here so that they could believe and worship and speak about things that they were not allowed to speak about in the country before. And we've come so far that, as we've talked about with so many of our episodes, with the algorithms and the pitting against each other. We have the far right declaring civil war and revenge, and we have the far left laughing. and we have forgotten. This person was a human being. You might not like what he wants to say, and you might think it's hateful, and that is absolutely your right. But no one deserves to be killed. Where are we? What is going on?
I think this was something that my brother-in-law sent to us last night, and this was a today.yougov.com. It is a platform that allows people to weigh in on their thoughts. So it does different surveys, and so one, I think I have to share this because it's so absolutely disturbing to look at this that I'm having a hard time even like wrapping my brain around this. The question was about political violence. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is agreeing on the degree to which political violence has a role in the United States. Can I just say that again? There are people that think political violence has a place in the United States. What freaking world are we in that is a thought even?
Jolene, there is it's from the Barry Weiss thing that I'll bring up, but there was a poll from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. 34% of college students believe that the use of violence to prevent someone from speaking on campus is acceptable. We are so broken.
And then when you break this down to by age group, there was just this incredible increase from people over 65 who said absolutely not, down to the 18 to 22-year-old group who said, yeah, it's okay. I think we have got to figure out why that is. I try to take these conversations that you and I have with empathy and kindness and loving as we do, and I think we've been able to do this. This has gotten me so fired up because I feel like it is absolutely one-sided. And let me preface this by saying, I understand that the Speaker of the House in Minnesota was assassinated, and her husband, and they're Democrats. I understand the whack job that went into the Pelosi's house and struck Nancy Pelosi's husband with a freaking hammer with the intent to try to kill Nancy Pelosi. The assassination attempts against Trump, these are whack jobs. And the mental health issues. I mean, we were going to do an episode on the Ukrainian woman, on the train in Charlotte, who was stabbed by a mentally insane psycho for absolutely no reason. If we don't get some help on dealing with the mental illness in this country, it is absolutely killing us. So I preface all that by saying I understand that it's on both sides. It's the Republicans and the Democrats. But you know what's not happening right now? We don't see riots in the streets. After this happened, after a conservative was assassinated for stating his political views, we don't see riots. We don't see the burning and the people in the streets that are looting and all the crap that we've had to deal with when Democrats are just, up in arms about whatever it is. I mean, it stemmed from, it stemmed from years, but I mean, in relatively recent times, starting with George Floyd. And all of the horrible reaction that Democrats have to events, and they take it to the streets, and no one's doing that here. You know what we're doing? You know what the Republicans are doing? They're praying. I hope everybody went to church today. I hope that people are looking at Charlie Kirk's message and saying, we need more God. This is demonic. The reaction that people have had to Charlie Kirk's death is demonic. It's from the devil. And you know me, I'm not a Bible thumping conservative. I mean, I try to live my faith, but I look at this and I don't see any other way around it. Damn. What are your thoughts?
I understand why you feel the way you do. I do see it more from both the right and the left. I think the far left and the far right take advantage of people who are lost and looking to belong, and they go down this rabbit hole of algorithms. And we've talked about just last week in our How America Got Mean episode about we're in a time of deep loneliness, which then translates to deep violence. Like, that episode couldn't have happened. It literally aired the same day he was killed.
Right.
And I get scared about the acts of revenge. What we've learned as this 22-year-old boy, not fully developed person, he came from Republican parents. He was raised LDS, which is Mormon. He doesn't fit the type. It's not the type that, maybe I'm not being fair, but I think maybe the right was hoping that it would be someone that was Antifa or whatever. I think we still don't know totally what the motive was, other than he didn't like Charlie Kirk, which there's no reason to kill that person. I agree with you. Being on the left, being a liberal, having attended a lot of protests in my life, all the protests that I've ever been involved in have been peaceful. And so,
which I agree with, yes.
So I'm just going to set the record straight that as a liberal and as a Democrat, I also don't like it when cities burn and property is damaged and we feel unsafe. I don't like it either. I want a free, peaceful protest. That is,
I agree,
where I come from. I also don't think I've been hearing a lot of, I've been listening and reading ever since Wednesday. And one thing that I'm hearing a lot too, and I want to say this as a liberal and as a Democrat. Sorry, it's really emotional. That we are using language. We are calling people expletives. We are calling people fascists. We are calling people racist. We are calling people really, we're calling people Nazis. On our YouTube page, I'm in charge of the comments. I can't tell you how many times we've been called Nazis. I'm Jewish. Sort of. My dad is, my people are. I'm like, we are so, and I don't even, to be unfair, this is how I'm feeling, I don't even want to say they're left, they're liberal. I don't know who these people are. Like, I would like to have a conversation where I look at you and I know you, and I'm starting to know some of your conservative friends who I really like. And Susie, shout out. And I don't look at you, and when Trump says something totally fucking crazy, I don't go, Jolene, that's who you are. And that's what we've done. That's what we've done. Between the algorithms and the finger pointing, and so these children that are in college, they're not fully formed, as we talked about in last week, like, they are not getting any examples of how to argue with respect, of how to dissent and actually maybe even enjoy the cerebral gymnastics. That's clearly what Charlie Kirk did. I am not putting him on a pedestal. I don't agree with a lot of what he said, but I appreciated that he was like, prove me wrong. Tell me, like, let's have a conversation, which I was like, that's what we're talking about. Everything's become so theatrical. Those conversations on YouTube where they have one conservative and 20 liberals, or one liberal and 20 conservatives, and they start screaming at each other. I'm like, that's not conversation. That is theatrics.
So can we talk about why that's happening? Because I would love to know if this is happening in other countries. You know, is this happening in Australia? Is this happening in the UK? Is this type of vitriol happening in other countries? Or is it something that, why is it happening here? Why? Why?
Jolene, one thing that's funny that you mentioned that. So I have a dear friend, Anna, and she lives in Barcelona, and she just wrote me about how America got mean, and she was like, she literally said, America's not the only one that's mean. The whole world is. And she's lived in Mexico, and she's lived in Santo Domingo, and she's lived everywhere, and she's currently living in Barcelona. And she was like, that's the state of at least the places that she's been in.
And you and I have seen this, and especially on the comments that we get on our social media, that people are looking at the sound bites that we put out that are meant to be an advertisement or a clip, a snippet of what our entire episode is about. And I see the comments, and both you and I have talked about this a million times, that, they're reacting to the 10-second clip that they saw, not the entirety of the episode. And I feel like the people that I love and respect, who are liberals on social media, and that I know personally, and I'm looking at their social media, that were kind of like, too bad about your person getting assassinated. He deserved it. And I'm like, but I know these people, and I can't believe that they think that. So then so then I have a conversation, and I listen to them, and they say, Charlie Kirk said really bad things about black people, or Charlie Kirk said really bad things about gays, or, transgender, go down the list. But here's the problem. We're a society, I believe now, that we're so, we want likes, and we want people to think that we're smart, and we want people to think that we are, that we know a lot about a whole bunch of different things. And so we're taking the information that's given to us in 10 and 15-second sound bites and then forming an opinion. And then we're putting it out there like, we know something about this topic. Charlie Kirk is a racist, and they're taking something that he said completely out of context and saying, and here's the proof. So what I've done, since you and I decided to do this podcast, is take a look at then the things that he has said and looked at it in the whole context of his conversation. And I'm going, well, and like you, I don't agree with everything that he said. And I felt like there were some things that he probably said that you and I wouldn't say to each other, but again, whatever. But to say that he was a racist? No, I don't think. To say that he didn't like gay people? Do you know how many? There was a guy who is a gay black man who works for Turning Point USA, and he goes, there's a lot of gays working for Turning Point USA, which was Charlie Kirk's organization. And he's going, yeah, he wasn't anti-gay at all. I have a real problem with understanding why people are taking these sound bites and turning them into gospel and saying, this is what he thought because I just heard it right here. And here's the other interesting thing, Nicole. So Callie did this with our friend Brooke, and she said, "Tell me what your feed," and Brooke is liberal. Mm-hmm. She said, "Show me what your feed is on Charlie Kirk. If you were just to put into your social media Charlie Kirk, what's all the things that come up for you?" And it was all of the derogatory things on Charlie Kirk. When Callie said, "I put Charlie Kirk into my feed," all of the positive things come out, that align with the conservative movement. Again, and I know you and I have talked about this. We're only being fed what we believe. And so we've created this echo chamber that is only continuing to feed our preconceived notions. So when someone says that Charlie Kirk was anti-gay and you're a Democrat, that's all that you're going to hear is that he was anti-gay. And they're going to take the snippets that prove that point for you. And I would say this. I learned this after the George Floyd incident. When he died, it was this awakening of how we're treating our black friends. And I remember, and Jeff was coaching at the time, and so he had his football players, the wide receivers in the room, and it was a whole conversation of what can we as white people do to make you, the black people in this room, feel honored and feel valued and feel, this is horrible. And the answer that was always, it was mostly given was, hey, it's not up to me, the black person, to tell you what you need to find out about me. It's for you to do the work. You need to do the work to figure out what's your preconceived notions? What racism or values can you bring to the table, and how that you see me? I will say this to all of our listeners who feel that way about Charlie Kirk: go do the work. Go listen to his entire podcast or his speeches at campuses, and don't just take the 10 to 15 second clips that are feeding your social media to just validate what your preconceived notion is.
I mean, I thought of you. There's so much to say. I've been thinking of you I think of you all the time anyway now. But because I deal with the comments on YouTube too, and the algorithms and all the things, for the first time ever, I'm thinking, is this a real person? And this is so Jolene, is it Russia or China? Nicole never thought this, ever, 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 ever. But you said it in the last episode, and I'm going to say it again. Listener, viewer, we are being manipulated. We are being manipulated to hate each other. And you know who wins? The corporations and the other countries that are doing this, not us. They are loving that we're fighting. They are loving that one person wants civil war and the other person's laughing. They are loving it. And we just are so sucked in. And I agree with you, Jolene. And one of the things that in all of my consumption the last couple of days, that liberals that would say that they knew him or they talked to him, and they said, he never attacked me personally, ever. He attacked, like if he was in a conversation and he'd be passionate about what he was talking about, and he wanted to convince you. Like, I think that's something that's different with you and I. We're not trying to convince each other.
Right. Yep.
Right. Like, I love you and respect you, and I might not agree with some of the things that you believe, and you don't agree. And honestly, okay. And
right.
Like, I love you.
Yep.
I have such, like, that's, and that's the thing, is that we have forgotten that we are all human, and that someone killed someone because they didn't like what they said. That's the country we're in. That's not okay, kids. It's not okay. We as adults, we are the adults. We need to talk about do the work. We, all the adults, all the colors of the adults, need to sit down with our children and tell them and teach them how to communicate, how to de-escalate a situation, how to respect someone despite what they think, or be curious about that they do think something different than me. I do want to, at some point in this podcast, and I'm going to put them in the show notes as well, some people, I want to shout out to some people that have done incredible journalism and or politicians that have risen up to the occasion. So should I do it now or should I wait?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. There's the governor in Utah is named Governor Spencer Cox. He is a Republican. He wasn't a Trumper and then kind of became one, and I don't really know. I've never liked him. I've found him to be too politician-y for me. And he had this slogan called "Disagree Better," which I was like, ugh. I just was not into him. I am so impressed with the Republican governor of Utah. He and Bernie Sanders, hands down, they rose to the occasion. They acted like grown-ups in the room, and they understand the gravity of the moment. And I'm going to share a little what Governor Cox said. He said, "The murder of Kirk is much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals." He never blamed anyone, not one person. And when he gave this statement, we still didn't know who the killer was. But he didn't point fingers. He was angry. He reminded people that Utah's a menopause moment. What is it?
Open carry state.
Well, it's an open carry state. It's the Wild West in Utah. But no, capital punishment.
Oh, death penalty. Yeah.
Thank you. That it's a death penalty state. He was just really real. When they caught the assassin, he said, "Oh my gosh, I wish he hadn't been a Utahn." Like he was hoping it was someone from out of state, because he said, "I wanted to be able to say we don't do that here." You know, it's so complicated. It's so nuanced. This kid is not what people wanted him to be. He was a screwed up, lost child kid.
Yep.
And it seems to be there's a lot of that in this country. Senator Bernie Sanders gave a statement that I sent to you, Joe. It was beautiful.
Yep.
And so all of these, just so this episode is not just about anger and crying, we're trying to give some positive things for you guys to look at, to understand that there are some really, really good people out there that are trying, that want this country to thrive and want this experiment to continue and don't want to go into civil war and don't want to blame anymore. There's two other things that I think I sent it to you, Joe, the Barry Weiss interview. It's the YouTube. It's Charlie Kirk's murder with Barry Weiss. It's Ben Shapiro. It's Senator Mark Kelly. It's all these different people from the right and the left that have a very moving and respectful and thoughtful conversation. And lastly, today, there was as in today being Sunday, September 14th, Tangle did a special edition episode, and it was an interview with a 16-year-old girl who was at the rally. She was at the speech, and she was interviewed. It was so moving. She's 16 years old, and truly we could all learn from her. She was so smart. She was so thoughtful. She told her experience, but also talked about what we need to do as a country. And she's 16, and she gets it. And I'm incredibly impressed with this young woman. And so we'll put this in the show notes as well, so that we can, take as they're saying, turn down the heat.
Who is the state legislator from Texas that you love? And I follow him too.
James Tellerico.
Tellerico. I kept thinking Steve. James Tellerico.
Are you following him on Instagram?
Yes.
I'll put him in the show notes too. He is what a wonderful person that man is.
Because I think he's a deeply religious person. And so
he's in
a lot
seminary.
of his that's right.
He's
so a lot of
seminary.
his comments come from being Christian, not so much from being a legislator. He is a state legislator in Texas right now, but it sounds like he's running for Congress.
Yes.
And if I were in Texas, I would vote for him, because I just think
Absolutely.
he looks at things through the lens of being a Christian, just a good person who with good ethics. So yes, if we could put him in.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
And can I say, not being a Christian, I love him.
Yes.
Because I don't look at it as like, I just look at it as what a good heart this man has, and what
Absolutely.
good intentions he has. And I think you and I on this podcast too, like, I deeply respect your faith. And as someone that was raised with many faiths and has my own journey, like, I guess I'm encouraging our listener and our viewer, just because a person might not have a religious background or a religious faith does not mean that they're not good, or that they don't want, right?
Absolutely
I'm not saying,
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think too that, as someone who knows you and loves you and knows your heart, I think because I'm a Christian, I do think that you're a spiritual person, just in a different way. Like, you don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior. I still think that your values, I think, still reflect those that are similar to mine.
I think you and I really want to create a community that we're not so labeled. Like, everything is so, like, Republicans are Christian, Republicans are white, Republicans are this, Republicans are that. Liberals don't shave their armpits. Liberals don't wear bras when they go to Whole Foods. Liberals don't believe in God, or whatever it is,
Right.
And it's not that.
And none of those things are true. Yes.
None of those things are true, and we all are so complex.
So can I add someone else to this list?
Please.
Dan Lanning is the head football coach for the University of Oregon. And he gave a press conference last night,
go Ducks.
probably. And I'm so proud of you for even know that they're the Ducks.
Well, we had a kid that almost went there, and we were really excited to be a Duck parent, and then it didn't happen.
Okay.
Because
All
the
right.
pandemic happened.
He gave we'll put it in the show notes, and he talks about, he talks about this incident and how it relates to football. And here's what is so interesting to me. Last night, we're watching the Arkansas-Ole Miss football game. So Arkansas is the visiting team. They're playing at the University of Mississippi last night. So most of the crowd is Ole Miss fans. There's a defensive player for Arkansas that goes down, is injured, and he's not moving. And both teams immediately, take a knee. They bring the stretcher out. I mean, at this point, everybody knows that it's very like something bad has happened. The two head coaches. I mean, this is a rivalry. The Ole Miss and Arkansas, both SEC teams that have no love for each other. Both the coaches are standing together on the field while they're working on this kid. They bring the stretcher out. They get the kid up on the stretcher, and the crowd claps. They start wheeling him off then in the cart. And as he's being wheeled off of the field, he puts a thumb up. He moves his arm and puts his thumb up. And the crowd erupts in cheers. The crowd for the other team is erupting for this kid. And at that moment, I'm going, wait a second. If we can do this in a football game, where the actual intent is to physically tackle the guy with the ball. Like, that is the intent here. And if we see a tragic thing happen, that we take a minute and we go, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's keep perspective here. Okay, that's the game, but now something tragic has happened. And let's just keep in mind that there is a human being that's hurt. And then when he gives this signal that he's going to be okay, that everybody rallies around him and cheers for him. No one said, you know what? He's been leading with his helmet this entire game. He deserved that. No one said, you know what? He said some horrible things on social media when he was 18 years old. He deserved that. That's karma. You know what that is? That's karma. No one did that. And at that moment, it hit me. Why in the world are politics so vile right now that we've completely lost perspective, that we're cheering for the assassination of someone that we don't think that we agree with? It's ludicrous. So I hope, Charlie Kirk's organization was called Turning Point USA. I hope this is a turning point in our country. I hope that his death is not in vain, and that this is a wake-up call for all of us. I see how it has affected you, my sweet Democrat liberal friend, and I think, okay, we've got hope. I don't think that we're all freaking whack jobs.
No. And everyone that I have spoken to, and I have got a lot of liberals in my tribe, they're devastated. Conservatives, we're devastated. Don't believe social media. We are devastated. This is not okay. We all live in the same country. We all want to be safe. We all want to be able to say what we feel and not worry that we're going to get killed. We don't want our kids to get killed in school. We're devastated. We don't want to live in a country like this.
I agree with you too. That I think the rhetoric on both sides. I know that I lashed out earlier in the podcast. I know that it's bad on both sides. Please hear me, my Democrat friend and Democrat listener. I know that the rhetoric on both sides, as you said, Nazis and Hitler.
And that is dangerous.
And when we call communism, when we call Bernie Sanders or AOC a communist.
That's right. Communist, socialist, like all of these really charged words.
Yep.
They're charged words. And as you so eloquently said, Jolene, do the work.
Yep.
And a couple episodes ago, this man reached out to us, and we talked about it on an episode already. But it was actually it was in response to it was about socialism. It was a Mom Donnie episode. That's what it was. And he sent us a video, and it was an incredible video. It's just a history of what it is. It's not bad. There's a lot of things like the 5-day work day, the 8-hour day, or 5-day work week, the 8-hour day, no child labor. But we have just taken these words. The left throws racist, sexist, Nazi, and the right throws socialist, communist, what other Antifa? You're Antifa. You're a Nazi.
Yeah. Yep.
Really? I think we're exhausted. And again, one thing that Governor Cox said, he's like, walk away. I don't think he used the word walk away, but I'm going to say it. Walk away from the phone. He did say touch grass. Be in nature, which is what you and I talk about all the time.
I am so glad you just used that term, because Callie just said to me the other day, she said, that's a term. And I go, touch grass, that's a term. And she goes, yes, that is a term of what you just said. Get away from social media, get outside, go for a walk, touch grass, touch nature, be in nature, do things that are healthy instead of, and so I didn't realize that was a term, touch grass.
I hadn't heard it until he used it. And I was like, oh, I like that. And Mormons love grass. I don't mean weed. They love a lawn.
Oh.
They might love weed too, but they love a lawn. It's not legal in Utah yet. So, as we've talked about in several episodes, like the amount of information that we all have with these phones and these little computers in our pockets, the amount of tragedy that we have at our fingertips to see death and destruction all over the world, all day long. Our nervous systems cannot handle it and are so taxed and easily manipulated.
So if you've got somebody who is, slightly off the rocker, dealing with some mental health issues, as I think most of us are probably on the verge of, to be honest. I think like you said,
we're human.
We've got so much, that is just absolutely coming at us that we can only, like you said, we can only handle so much. And you've got somebody then who doesn't have either the wherewithal to get help or the environment to get help, and they hear these snippets, these 15-second snippets, and they're triggered, literally.
Yeah.
And here we are.
I feel so sad for the assassin's family. They recognized their child, and they had the goodness in their character to turn their child in. And how incredibly painful that must be for those parents and their community. It's just...
Could you imagine? I mean, I can't.
Can you imagine?
I can't imagine. Mm-mm.
But when, like I said before, this Tangle interview with this sweet, sweet girl that was at the rally, I don't know what you call it, meeting, gathering last Wednesday, do yourself a favor and listen to this interview. She will give you hope for our future. And she will also, in a really beautiful way, remind us of how fragile it is to be on this planet together.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an outlet. I apologize for
Jolene,
being so emotional about.
Please don't apologize, because I feel like this is honest and raw, and this is what I think a lot of people are feeling.
I agree. I think what you and I do here is we try to listen to the other person's perspective, and I'm so grateful that I have you in my life, that you were one of the very first people to call and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm devastated by what happened." And that right there, that you and I have each other, makes me so happy. And makes my soul feel so good, that when the other people have such a horrible response, I think they don't have a Nicole in their lives. They don't have somebody that they can absolutely have a conversation with and go, wait, I don't get this. So thank you. Thank you for being loving and caring and loving me as a Republican. And even though we don't agree on issues, we still agree that, there is good in humanity, and that we both want a good country and a good world, and I mean, that's the important thing here.
Absolutely. I have tried to avoid social media in the sense, I can't really because I'm dealing with our podcast on social media, but I've tried to not engage, or when I've seen hateful rhetoric, as it's happened when it's come at us on YouTube, when hateful rhetoric has come, I'm a human being, and it hurts, and I have a visceral reaction, but I honestly take a deep breath and I think, I'm so sorry you're hurting. 'Cause why are you compelled to write that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about me. It's not about you. Something is hurting them. Like that saying of like, hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have anyone to talk to, so they shout it out on a screen. And a lot of, millions of people do that now. We're so alone. I'm hoping we're going to do a Would You Rather just because. Did you do one?
I did not prepare a Would You Rather.
It's a weird thing to do a Would You Rather, but I was like, you know what? I think it's important. But I want to give our listener and our viewer a very small exercise. Next time you go outside and you're taking a walk, and you can be in New York City, so it may be a little tricky, but I want you for 2 minutes to walk down the street and say hello to someone. Make eye contact with them and just say, good morning. You will be so surprised at how well received you are. We are hungry for connection. We're hungry to belong.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, well then go ahead with your Would You Rather.
Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Yeah, I think I'd rather be able to fly. I just think, I think your point of that is probably when people are invisible, they're not, how you feel like no one cares about you, how isolating and how lonely that must feel. I guess I'll be the freak that flies around. Oh my gosh, look at her. She's flying around.
I'm going to fly with you. We can fly together.
Okay.
Look at that.
All right,
look at that.
I like it. Okay. Would you rather spend 10 minutes with someone that you agree on everything with, or 10 minutes with someone that you agree on nothing with?
You know my answer. 10 minutes with someone I do not agree with anything with. It's a gift to learn from each other. We are all so different, and we have all so much to share and so much richness inside of us. And if we actually stopped and got curious and we're not afraid of the other person just because they're different than you. 10 minutes. 10 minutes? That's
yeah.
It's a gift.
Totally agree. Thank you, friend.
Thank you, friend. Everybody, please take care of yourselves and stay safe and honor each other's humanity as best as you can.
If you have comments on this episode, please let us know. If you need to talk to somebody, if it's me being the conservative or Nicole being the liberal, and you truly are curious about what the other person thinks, in a really respectful way, ask a question. Please reach out to us on any of our socials,
Yes.
on our website. I think I speak for both of us that we truly value your opinions and your thoughts, and not in a please don't watch the 10 minutes of our snippet and comment something really derogatory and stupid. I mean, just give yourself a chance to know somebody who's different from you, and let us know if we can help.
Yes. And we can be your Nicole and Jolene. If you need someone to talk to.
We are your Nicole and
we are
Jolene.
your Nicole and
Yes.
Jolene. We are here, and
Good point.
we have made a commitment. Will be kind to you, which is a pretty revolutionary thing right now.
Yep.
But we will be kind. I love you.
Yep. I love you, friend. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening, and just take care.
We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.